F100 Nation, Episode 2, SEMA Build Agent Orange. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Really stoked about today's episode, but before we hop into that, I want to say thank you to everybody who's given a 5-star rating so far on iTunes. I wanted to thank dvern01 for the positive review. I'm blown away by the response from all of you guys. Just having a great time with this, looking forward to future podcasts, and today is one of them. So, really excited to have J.R. Herrera on, talking about his build Agent Orange, which is a custom 1977 crew cab dent side. Now, when I say custom, I mean it in every sense of the word. He is chopped, stretched, custom frame. I mean, you name it, he's doing it to this truck. It's going to be over the top, but let's go ahead and we'll jump right into the podcast here and hear it from the man himself. How's it going, everybody? We're fortunate today to have J.R. Herrera from Addiction Chassis and Addiction Off-Road on the podcast. Super excited to hear about his build Agent Orange. It's really cool. So welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. So I'm going to jump right into it here. This build that you've got going on is just off the charts. I've never seen anything like it, and it's caught my interest from day one. As soon as I saw you starting to cut on that cab, I mean, what drew you to build this truck? Tell me a little bit about this build and what kind of inspired you.
Well, what inspired me, I guess, is I've always had I guess you could say a passion for these trucks. My dad had a 76 F100 short bed with a 390 in it. That was the first vehicle I ever learned how to drive. And, I got a brand new Ram, or a couple-year-old Ram, and it's like, I like it, but it's not the same. It's not that old truck that you got to really like slam the door to get the door to shut. It doesn't make all that noise when you're driving down the road, and I hate to say it, but it's not as cool, and the things cost ungodly amounts. They cost more than a house anymore. So I wanted to build something and push my skills, because I felt that I wasn't really pushing my skills doing what we normally do for a living, which is build race cars. And nothing against that, that business, but I want to better myself. I want to be that guy that can, when somebody in town says, hey, I want something done, it's like, I've never tackled that, but let's try it. So I've wanted to build this truck for 20 years. When I saw the first mega cab Dodge come out, I'm like, oh man, a dent side would be awesome. And, it's like, they just don't look proportionate. To me, a new mega cab is kind of, I don't know, it's a little bigger than I'd like. So I took the best of what I thought was a perfect truck, I guess. And that's kind of where we started. My wife, when I brought the truck up to the shop, I said, hey, I want to build a truck. And she's like, what are you building? So I told her, and she said, you're retarded. And I laughed. And, actually the whole truck started as a joke. One of my good friends told me I couldn't do it. And I said, hold my beer and watch this. And then I'm the type of person, if you push, I'm going to push back harder. So I knew that I couldn't afford this truck to do it the way that I wanted to by myself. We're not wealthy. We're not, millionaire people. And I needed those companies to help us get there. The only way to do that was to bring this truck to SEMA. And that also started as a joke to my buddies. They're like, you ain't taking that truck to SEMA. I'm like, watch me. And now we're growing, and we've grown so much on social media in the last 6 months. It's crazy to me that I have the people following me that already do. Our page is 6 months old. We just hit 30,000 followers, which to me is massive. And I appreciate all the support. Daily we'll get questions, and, I don't get to them all the time, but, I'll get to those. Normally I try to work 5 to 6 hours a day on the truck, but my normal job sometimes doesn't let me do that. There's been a couple months where I wasn't able to touch the truck at all. But now, we're in crunch mode time. We're in the real SEMA crunch because, we're building something that's so one-off that there won't be another one, I hope, like it in the world.
Man, I've been watching, since you made your first post of cutting that thing up, having it up on jack stands, and your plan of stretching that cab, and kind of the process. I've been following along as you did it, and just it really captured my attention. It's an amazing build, and I mean, I know you've got a really cool power plant going on and going into the truck. What's your plan there?
My plan was I didn't want to do what everybody else was doing. So that's one reason why we didn't do a 5.9, 7.3. The 6.4, 6.0 motors suck. So I went with the next best thing. A friend of mine's got a 6.7 that runs really well. And I didn't want to intermix we were actually going to put a 6.7 Cummins in it just because of how well my Ram runs. And I thought to myself, I want to keep it forward. I mean, my realistic goal was if you could actually be a nobody, which I am, and get on Ford's map and then, invite you to SEMA, that'd be huge.
Yeah.
But, will that ever happen? Probably not. But, in all reality, nobody keeps their truck forward anymore. So that's the direction we wanted to go. I was lucky enough to have a really good friend that had a wrecked 550, and he said, dude, come get it. You can use whatever you need to off of it. And, that saved us, 20, 30 grand right there off the top. It's like, oh. So now, at that point, I said, well, the money we was going to save, now we can build a really healthy motor. So I talked to Dan over at SPE Diesel in Pennsylvania, and he said, yeah, we can make that thing scream. So they're building this thing to be 1,000 horse without the nitrous on it. So it's going to be a really, really nasty truck. So I'm pretty excited. I can't mention much of what he's doing to the motor just because he wants to unveil that at SEMA. But I can tell you that it's going to be different. It's not going to be your normal. We're going to add a bunch of stuff to it. Doing port work. CP Carrillo's doing, they got us some new rods that they got so we can keep the bottom end together. ARP is going to hold the thing together. We got Exergy Performance helping out with the injectors and the pump. So we got some really, really good companies behind us helping us, and without those guys, man, this project can't happen. I can't thank those guys enough. This truck started with a rendering and, working hard at something, it'll get there. And granted, I still got a long road ahead of me, but it's definitely been a lot of fun just to kind of see the truck evolve. And, I have people stop by weekly that live where we do, and they're like, dude, it's just neat to see the thing come together. And, when the very first time that I cut the cab, that thing was, never done this. And when I cut it, I was like, well, there's no turning back now. You got to roll with it.
And you broke the internet. The internet it broke as soon as you started cutting that thing up.
Right. And I've had people like it and some just don't. And I get it, but it's not a 69 Super B either. So, it is a great truck. It's not rare in my opinion. Yeah, crew cab's rare, but this thing will be rare, and I hate to say it, but it will be for sale. I don't want to, but, that was the agreement with my wife, is that I had to sell it. So 6 months after SEMA, somebody can take it home. So I get to at least enjoy it for 6 months. So that's kind of nice. So I'm probably going to drive the hell out of it just because I put countless hours into this thing, and I want people to see it, you know, and I don't know, we'll just see where it goes. I mean, it's been a good ride so far.
Man, that's awesome. So what booth is it going to be in, or where is it going to be at SEMA?
Right now we have a deal locked in with Mike Kuna over at Hostile Wheels. Nice. And we will be outside of South Hall. I don't remember the exact spot number, but that's where we're going to be for now. I really would like to get a inside spot, but you know, that's the way things go right now. And you know, we're 9 months away. I mean, that could change 3 times between now and then.
Absolutely.
But that at least give me a booth space so we could continue forward, because that seems to be a common question every time you know, we talk to somebody about sponsoring what we're doing, or, you know, getting some help on the truck. You know, it was, where are you? Do you have your spot secured? And, you know, Mike was gracious enough to hook us up with that deal. And, you know, I've met some great people through this this build process that I consider friends that I'd have never met because of this deal.
Man, that's really cool. That's a neat part of all of this. I mean, yeah, community.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's definitely a little different than the other community we work with. You know, the race car community is so, how would I say it, to themselves, you know? It's like, it's such a big competition that everybody doesn't want to know what everybody else is doing. Your stuff's so secretive. And this isn't like that. And it's hard to adjust to that because everybody's willing to help. And I haven't had that for, you know, 8 to 10 years here.
Wow.
So it's definitely hard to adjust to having the support and, you know, guys like, hey, what can we do to help you out or whatever? You know, it's like, without those little things, that, man, I don't think that we could be as, I guess, popular, you could say, as we are currently, you know?
Well, you guys are killing it. And, you know, kind of going back to that chassis thing, I'm curious. Tell me a little bit more about, you know, Addiction Chassis and Addiction Off-Road and what you guys got going on there.
Well, Addiction Chassis was started when basically I had 2 young kids, and I had to stay at home with them because I was working at working for the city, and anybody that works for the government knows what I'm talking about. That you don't make a bunch of money, but your benefits are good. So, you know, what I was making every 2 weeks was costing daycare for our 2 young kids. So I had a race car at the time, and I sold it to buy a bender and a brake and some tools to start building race cars. And, you know, I was able to do that and build a business that, you know, I thought thrived pretty good for the town that we live in. We live in a town of about 12,000 people, not very big. You know, we got cars to California, North Dakota, California, Texas, Iowa area. So, you know, we've grown a lot. We built 52 race cars, and it's been a good ride. But then, you know, a part of me said the racing market is so small compared to the automotive aftermarket. It's huge. And that's when I decided I wanted to push my skills. You know, like I said, I've never done anything like this before. And, man, welding sheet metal and joining 2 things that are, you know, 40, 50 years apart hasn't been super easy. You know, the reward will be definitely worth it. You know, I wanted a truck that looked like it came from the factory when it was done. You know, I spent, I don't know, probably 3-4 days fitting the 2017 Super Duty Dash into it. And that in itself was a huge chore. You know, I've had several guys tell me, hey, we're building the same exact truck, just a little different. You know, it's got a 5.9 and it's on a 2008 frame. No, it's not the same truck. No. Because we put a 6.7 in ours. I got a 17 dash in it. And I got this badass tube frame underneath this thing. That, was brought to me by Colin Ford with Nile Fabworks. And, we became friends over the dents I'd love. We both have them. And we decided that, it was something that he wanted to see done, and something that I thought, man, that looked really super neat underneath that truck. So that's how the frame got started. And I didn't realize how much work it was until we actually started it. And then I'm like, man, this is a grundle of work. And we did it mainly in 2 weeks. Granted, we only got the frame and the engine mounts done, but it took us 3 days just to get the engine mounted in the thing. So that was a huge challenge, but, now we'll get the suspension done. We're working with Bilstein on their coilovers, iBox springs on the springs for this thing. Barnes 4-wheel drive hooked us up with some bracketry and their Enduroheim. So thing's going to have some really, really cool parts on it, which I'm excited about. It's just definitely some days it's outside the box. It's like I can't get this done until A, B, and C fall into place. And so that's kind of the trouble I'm having right now. But I really wish I could find about 5 or 6 guys that would come help me here about June, July, August, and September, because I'm going to need some help.
Dude, I'll come down and carry stuff around or do whatever you need, man. On the weekends, I'll slide down there and give you a hand if you need it.
Oh, we're definitely going to need it. I already feel like we're behind. And, we got basically 9.5 months to get this thing done. Oh,
man. That's crazy. Well, it looks amazing. If people want to check it out, you can head to Instagram, check out 77_Ford_megacab. Go and take a look at this project if you want to see it firsthand. You've got something else kind of cool going on that goes along with this trip to SEMA, right?
Yes, we do. Right now we're, I don't know, how would you say it? We got some good people behind us on this trip we're going to raffle off. It's, I can't thank Valspar enough. Those guys have come through with the paint for this truck, with things for this raffle. Those guys have treated us like we've been buying products for them for 10, 20 years. Those guys have been really, really good to us. And then we actually have some other sponsors on board for that raffle. NX Express is going to give away a gift certificate, and that's actually what you win this month. So what I wanted to do was every month somebody got chosen as a winner, and they actually received a prize, every month. So we'll narrow it down from who knows how many people enter this thing to 9. So what we're going to do is you're going to get 2 passes to SEMA. You're going to get your hotel taken care of from Tuesday morning until Saturday when checkout is. And then your flight is taken care of the same way. So we're going to have you on a hotel on the strip there, so you can just get on the monorail. You can just buzz down to the convention center. That way you don't have to rent a car if you don't want to. You just have the Uber take you there or whatever, or I can come get you. If you want to hang out with us, great. If you don't, man, that's great too. Not a huge deal. But I figured it was a way for someone that can't get into SEMA to be able to go, because I talk to people all the time. They're like, dude, I want to go, but I can't get in. Well, here's your chance, and so we got some stuff on our website, which is www.addiction-offroad.com. And every time you purchase a t-shirt or a keychain, every $5 you spend gets you into this drawing. Each month at the end of the month, we're going to randomly generate a winner from that, and I'll get with them and I'll send them what they won that month. And I'm hoping that it takes off, because it's who wouldn't want to go to Vegas for free for a week, I guess, honestly.
Right, and have a chance to wander around and check out all the new stuff at SEMA, all the cool builds at SEMA, and have an opportunity to just hang out with you. And man, I think that's just an amazing opportunity. I know I'll put a link in the description here so that people can go and check it out. But you definitely need to get in on this. I mean, this is a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity to get to experience the automotive industry in a different way.
Right. Yeah. Since it's not open to the general public, I figured this was the way to, help somebody that would not be able to normally go. And I guess if you don't want to go to SEMA, man, you got a week in Vegas for free. I mean, you just got, we're going to put you in a really nice hotel. So it'll be for 2 people. You and your wife, you and your buddy, it doesn't matter to me how you break it down, whoever wins this deal, but it is going to be really, really cool. I've been working on this thing for like 4 months now, to try to get all of our ducks in a row to be able to get this kicked off. It's like I've talked to a lot of people and they're like, dude, I've never even heard of somebody trying to give this away. Well, when you talk to some people and they know the right people, well, you can get things kind of handled a little bit easier.
Oh man, that's really, really cool. So, I mean, again, every $5 spent gets you an entry. Yeah, you need to head over to their website, buy a t-shirt, get in on this. I mean, support this build. It's really, really cool. I look forward to seeing this truck in person.
Well, I really appreciate it, man. It's hopefully I'm building a truck that everybody, really wants to come check out or search out while they're at SEMA, because there is so much to see there. It's hard to see it all. Even last year was my first year, and I went to SEMA Ignited, and I'm like, dude, where was that thing at? Where was that car? Where was that truck? There's so much stuff there. It's like you forget to see stuff. It's like there's so much to take in the short time that it is. I really wish it was one more day than it is, but sadly it's not. And probably for the manufacturers, they're like, you know what? I'm glad it's not another day. but it's definitely an awesome experience. And if you want the opportunity to win and go check it out, this is your opportunity. I mean, who knows? You could win a whole trip to SEMA in Vegas on $5. Or, you got some guys that are going to spend way more than that. I mean, it's about chance and luck, and I just hope that, everybody likes what we're doing and what we're building. And, like I said, I can't thank everybody enough for the support and, the messages that we get all the time. Even just saying, dude, your truck's cool, it's badass, or whatever it is, I mean, without that stuff there, I don't know, it's not as fun, it's like to have somebody just that you don't know, I'll get random phone calls all the time about guys that are just, man, I just wanted to call you and tell you how awesome I thought your build was. And there's some days that I'm just having, everybody has those days where it's like, what am I doing? I'm not this guy. And you get that phone call and it's like, you know what? You may not know it, but you just made my day. Now I know why we're doing what we're doing. We're, on a side note, we're actually going to add our truck to the Battle of the Builders. I've said this from the beginning. Am I good enough to go beat Chip Foose? Absolutely not. But just the notoriety and exposure and everything else that comes with that, I want all that stuff. I'm kind of greedy when it comes to that. At the end of the day, I want this truck on a cover of a magazine now, and we're working on that. So when I started this, I'd never thought any of that stuff. And now some of this stuff's becoming a reality, and it's kind of like one of those roller coaster rides. You know what I mean? It's up and down and up and down, and it's got way more highs than it does lows. And man, with everybody and the support that we get, it's just been awesome.
Man, that is really cool and super humble, and just, I mean, you could tell that you're excited about it, and I mean, you should be. It's an amazing deal, and yeah, you got our support. I mean, all the way. I think it's amazing. Tell everybody I know about it.
Well, man, I appreciate the opportunity to be on your podcast here. It's definitely something the Ford guys needed. And hopefully we can I don't know, get the poor crowd growing a little bit, because those Chevrolet guys are pretty big. You know?
Yeah, they definitely have the aftermarket support, and there's a lot of things like that out there for them. And I mean, you know, I think the community for the Ford side is huge. I think the opportunity to do anything but really go up in the air, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, my build is going up in the air, and I love off-road and four-wheel drive, but I think it'd be cool to see some aftermarket parts come along that make it easier to take the two-wheel drives down to the ground. So,
yeah, that's true. I mean, you know, somebody needs to. I don't know. I've thought about it several times. You know, even grills. I mean, not everybody wants the same grill. Some people love it. You know, the grill on our truck's super different than anything anybody Ford make, and guys either love it or hate it. There's no in between. And I get it. You know, if you grew up with a truck that looked like that, some guys don't want to change it. But, you know, when you have a truck like what I'm building, it's so modernized that I couldn't just, it's like one more thing I had to cut up.
Dude, absolutely. It looks awesome. I mean, from the pictures and the renderings, are you doing is it a full billet deal, or what's kind of your build idea there? I'd love to ask you about that.
We're actually taking, you know, because I spent, I don't know, probably a week solid on the phone trying to find somebody to stamp a grill out or cast one out, or, you know, we even thought about 3D printing, but there's no one in the world that has a large enough 3D printer. So, me being the guy that I am, I said, well, now that everybody's seen this, I got to do it. And I knew that this was the hardest part of the whole build. Just because, man, the grills are super thin. There's not much to them. And the aftermarket ones, let's be honest, they're not that great.
No, they're pretty bad.
Yeah. So what I did is I found the cleanest factory one that I could find, and we're going to hack it up into pieces. And I'm going to create that grill that's in the rendering by hand. The grill, we figured that I have a company that's going to help me do it called Original Creations. They're actually here in town, and they build bronze statues. And we're going to hand fabricate the whole grill. He figured that we're going to have 500 hours in the grill alone, which is a lot of time.
Wow, that's nuts.
Yeah, but, you know, like I said, I wanted this truck to be so unique and no one else to copy it. So the only way to do that is to think outside the box and just, I guess, start cutting. It's just metal. You can make it fit.
Right? You can always fix it.
Right. And that's kind of what I thought, you know? Same way when I cut the cab apart 5 times. You know, I liked it. Oh, I didn't like it, you know? And I'm glad that all the people that got on there kind of helped me out and, you know, helped me make my mind up, you know? Because originally I didn't like the big door. I thought it looked dumb. But the back of the cab wasn't stretched. Then I got the back of the cab stretched, and after I shortened the back door, I was like, I don't like it. So we went back to the big door again. And I'm glad that I did, but, you know, I guess we'll see how this all plays out when it's together. You know, I wish we were at paint, but we're not. And it's definitely, it's been a lot of work. Anybody that's restored a car knows how much work it is. And then let alone add basically 100% custom work to it that a guy's never done before makes it even that much more work. I mean, it's been a definite learning process from the time I started it. That's for sure. You know, it's, we're used to welding 1/8" material all the time, not 2 sheets of paper. So that's definitely been a learning curve, you know, and it's like, you can weld stuff, you know, normally what we do, and it doesn't work. But, you know, with this, man, you really got to be super careful. And I've had several guys that have followed our Instagram that helped me through the easiest way to do this. And, man, I appreciate that, and I don't remember their names off the top of my head. But, you know, one would say, hey, do this, and, you know, get a little bucket of water with a rag and tack it, and then cool it, tack it, cool it. And he's like, it won't warp it as bad? Okay. So I did that. And it was amazing how much faster it was and it wasn't warped as bad. You know, I knew when I started on the cab, I was like, oh man, that looks terrible. And I'm like, I don't want to show anybody that. So then, you know, those guys talked me through it in an easier way. And by the, you know, I don't know, fourth or fifth piece I put in the truck, man, it was super smooth. And, you know, had a little, maybe a 16th of an inch of a low spot, nothing major, you know, and then they taught me how to, you know, heat it, cool it so it pops back out. So that was super cool of those guys to come out and say, hey, man, you know, this is what we do in the industry. This will help. And, man, I appreciate that stuff because, like I said, with the racing industry, there's nothing like that. It's so secretive. It's so, I'm not helping you because if you go beat us, you know, it's not like that. So it's been super hard to adjust to that. But, man, I can't be more thankful for that stuff either because, you know, they're sharing tips that they've learned over the past, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years with a novice that made my job so much easier. And, you know, that just equals less body filler, which is what I want. You know, I'm a perfectionist. If it isn't good enough for me, it's not good enough for somebody else. I don't like cutting corners. It's just not my MO. Never has been. You know, I got super ADD plus, but at the end of the day, it's like I want stuff to be nice and neat and organized, and, you know, I want you to be proud of what I'm doing, even though I may not know who you are. It's just that little sense of satisfaction going, you know what? I worked my tail off and somebody else notices this. It's just kind of like when any guy can relate to this. You tell your wife, man, you're looking beautiful today. Well, she says, thanks. That's all she says. And she gives you the same look. But your friend says to your same wife, man, you look great today. And she gets a big smile on her face because you're supposed to say that to her. Well, my wife's supposed to tell me the truck looks great, and my friends are supposed to tell me you're doing a great job. But when I hear it from someone else, it just means something different because it's like, they don't have to tell me that, you know? So to me, that's, I don't know, a little bit of a pat on the back, and it makes me more appreciative of the skills that I do have and the skills that I'm learning in what we're doing here. You know, it's definitely, I'm not the guy that's perfect at everything, but I want to be a little bit more versatile in what we can and can't do. You know, I've had several guys even ask us to stretch our trucks. And it's like, do you know how much work this is? You know, I mean, you're talking, I've already got, I don't know, 500 something hours just into the cab. And it's like, if you charge shop rate, I mean, just, it's not cheap to have somebody do. And you know what, now that I've done one, I don't think I'd ever do another one. But, you know, time will tell. So we'll see. I got another project on the hook after the truck is done, which is for the Chevrolet guys. So we'll talk about that the next time that, you know, me and Devin talk here on the podcast. So it's kind of like I give you a little bit of a bite of something, and then I take it away. So you'll have to tune in for the next conversation for that one.
Yeah, man. And from what I've heard so far, it's going to be exciting too. So, man, I really appreciate your time and thanks for sharing your build with us. Thanks for sharing your story and your thought process and, you know, what kind of drew you to build this truck. You know, obviously it was a passion. It was something that you wanted to do. And, you know, we can see it through every step of the process. I mean, you know, just from what I've seen on Instagram, I can't wait to see this thing in person. And it's, you know, you can tell that you're pouring your heart into it. So it's awesome. Fantastic.
Well, I appreciate you having us on here, man. I really, I'm hoping this podcast takes off for you, and there's other guys like myself and that get introduced, and, you know, you get to hear those stories because sometimes you don't get to hear that stuff.
Well, looking forward to it. I appreciate that. I just having fun with it, and yeah, man, thank you again. And I look forward to having you back. We'll definitely circle back around here before SEMA a couple of times.
Perfect. Thanks, Devin.
I'm so pumped to have had JR on the show. Can't thank him enough for his time. Thank him for sharing his build and what he's got going on his road to SEMA here. Looking forward to have him back again, before he heads to SEMA. I really, really can't wait to see how this build progresses. Again, if you guys want to check him out, he's on Instagram at 77_Ford_megacab. Really cool. Go give him a follow. Check it out. On this next episode, we're going to be joined by Colton Ladner. Now, Colton has a beautiful blue and silver 78 F-150 that was featured in the first ever F100 Builder's Guide. This truck is stunning. It's about to go under a huge makeover because it's heading to SEMA this fall as well. So looking forward to hearing what he's got planned for that build. Can't wait to have him on the show this next week. So thank you guys again for listening to the podcast, and we'll catch you next time.